Parent memory. He has a timeline to go and pick his daughter from school. Sayo Nukpa Bejenlo. Oh, Ajana 1, Ajana 2. TIIS. Pains. Today's Friday. It's Friday. The presiding member of the Accra Metropolitan Assembly, Honorable Pajo, has joined us on the phone line now. This morning, we spoke about a petition that had been received from some 11 members of the Assembly asking for a vote of no confidence on the head of the Chief Executive. Good morning. Thank you very much for your time.
Good morning, Johnny. How are you?
I am greater than Accra. Have you received this petition in question?
Yeah, on the 15th of February, I received this petition from some section of Assembly members as to what you read this morning. I was told. Yeah.
Were you surprised?
The question is not about being surprised or not, but if you check on our model standing orders for districts, municipal, and metropolitan assembly, the Constitution makes provisions for that, for vote of no confidence, and per the model standing orders again, 1/3 of assembly members can trigger for that vote of no confidence. So what is happening is that when you, the presiding member, you receive such a petition, you have within 7 days, if you read the section 16.
That's right. That's right. 7 days.
7 days to respond to that, and quickly need to call an assembly meeting to set up a committee. The assembly needs to set up a committee to delve into all the issues that has been raised. And the rules of natural justice, the mayor or the district chief executive should also be represented, either she herself or representative, as to all the issues that has been raised. So I received a petition on Wednesday. On Monday, I'm calling for this emergency assembly meeting quickly to set up a committee to delve into all the issues that has been raised. So coming back to that, I think that the assembly members too are exercising their constitutional mandate. In fact, as maybe they don't agree to certain things, they've not taken to the street. They've not done anything that is contrary to what the Constitution provided. So I think they are exercising their constitutional mandate. And as presiding member too, I'm obliged, as I said, to also follow suit to what the Constitution says. So letters will be circulated today for that effect for the emergency assembly meeting. Then quickly without into all the issues that has been raised.
The 7 points petition has really damaging things that have been, said about the chief executive. For example, using sole sourcing to purchase Christmas package of rice and oil worth 800,000 Ghana cedis against the Public Financial Management Act, when for 3 months staff of the AMA have not been paid, and having her son as deputy mayor, if you will, and also serving as executive secretary to the mayor when this individual is supposed to be a local government staff. It should come to you with some bit of a shock, especially when you are the presiding member of the whole assembly. No?
Okay. So, Johnny, coming back to what I said earlier on, we have the tender entity board, okay, at ALA. We have the procurement department at ALA. So, with all these things that have been raised, I'm not saying yes or no. It all depends on the committee that will be set up to even invite the procurement director, the procurement unit, to invite the members of the tender board committee as to the issue that has been raised. That is the only place that they will also finish the assembly, of which I am the presiding member, on all the issues that has been raised. On the issues about, as I said, the tangible projects for more than 1 year, we have the how do you call it? We have the works department, the fiscal planning department in charge of that. So all these things, they will all be invited to the committee for them to clarify themselves. Even though the petition was against the mayor, who is both the administrative and the political head, yes, they also have the mandate to also call all these departments to come and also answer this case. So until the committee comes out with their findings from Monday onwards, I believe we all need to hold our ground, because if I don't take it as presiding member, I'll be prejudicial to all these allegations.
Right. I'm not asking you to be prejudicial. I'm just asking that as presiding member, you have, if you will, oversight responsibility over what the chief executive and, if you like, the ESCO does at the assembly.
Yeah.
Would you say that these matters are coming into the public domain because you could not provide the real gatekeeping job that you have as presiding member?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so at all. As a presiding member, you also have the subcommittee that you work with. And as I'm talking, you have the FNA subcommittee, you have the revenue subcommittee, you have the work subcommittee that are also supposed to furnish you with all this information. But I have not received any of that. Okay, so this is the first time I have received this resolution to pass vote of no confidence based on all that is stipulated there. Okay, so as presiding member, so I'm also exercising my constitutional mandate to follow what the law says, that within 7 days we need to call it. So from there, I will also be able to be furnished with all the facts that will come out of it. So from there, after you per the constitution, per the model standing orders, after you foresee this, you set up a committee, the mayor will need to be there, and with his lieutenant to explain. If we don't come to an amicable solution, or the issues that came out are not attained, the committee will finish it. Basically, we need to call on the letter commission to conduct the vote of no confidence. And that one, we don't need the 110. We need 2/3 of the General Assembly to pass the vote of no confidence. So, as at now, this is what, as a presiding member, I'm also focusing on.
You have 29 members of the Assembly, correct?
Yes, yes, we have 29 members of the Assembly. Actually, it's supposed to be 30 members, but we have 29.
And how many of them are presidential appointees? How many of them are elected members? Share with us.
We have 20 electoral areas and 10 government appointees, but now we have 9 government appointees.
And of the 20 elected members, 11 of them say they don't want the mayor there. That's more than 50%, if you will.
No, don't say out of the 11 members. We have 30 assembly members on record.
I'm talking of the 20 that were elected. Okay. 11 of them say we don't want the leadership of the mayor again.
And even though we are elected and appointed, they all have the same vote. So categorize all of them as one. Whether elected or appointed, you are entitled to one vote. It doesn't mean that if you are elected member, you have 2 votes. So we are all assembly members.
Really? Now, does the son of the mayor come to the office at all?
Does the son of the mayor come to the office at all?
That's right.
Yeah, coming back to that again, it is part of the allegation that has been raised about the son issue.
No, I'm not asking you to say whether he's deputy mayor or executive secretary. I'm asking, does he come to the office at all?
It's not about the son coming to the son, as you rightly, is also a local government staff. Okay, so that is what I can say to that. It's a local government staff.
Has he been seconded to the AMA as local government staff?
You can check from the record. I know he's a local government. And with this question, I believe the HR department, we have the HR
No. You are the presiding member. That's what I'm asking you, because then you are more like the speaker of the assembly.
Yes.
And I'm saying that, does the son of the mayor come to the office at all?
Say that. Don't say the son of the mayor. I know he's a staff of local government on record. That is what I know.
So you're suggesting that if somebody is a staff of a local government in Tamale, and if the person comes to the AMA, it will be difficult for you to say. I'm just asking, does the son of the mayor come to the office at all? It's a simple question, no?
No, as I said, mayor is having a lot of sons. So if you say that the son of the mayor, if you are making reference to the person that has...
No, the one that has been said to be deputy mayor, serving as executive secretary.
I know him to be a local government staff. So as to where he will be posted, that's one the honor that's all.
But does he come to the office at all?
Yes, he comes to the office as a local government staff.
Okay, and regularly?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
If I look at that, minister, won't you come to work regularly?
So is the AMA his working place?
That is where I know he has been posted. That is what I know he has been posted to me.
Okay, since the mayor became chief executive, or it was before that?
I know it was after that.
Okay, after the Madam Elizabeth Saki assumed the position as chief executive.
That is what I know. I can say that is.
Would you say that is normal?
Johnny.
Yes, sir.
I won't say it is normal or abnormal. It is one of the issues that has also been raised at the fifth point. Okay, fifth point.
Right.
Okay, fifth point. That son, deputy mayor. Okay, so it is part of the committee fact finding that we all need to hold our guns until we get to that level. But what I know is that he is a local government staff.
This is not the first time. This is not the first time you are serving as presiding member. Is that correct?
This is my third term as presiding member for him.
And if you look at the happenings now and the happenings then, would you say what's happening now is normal?
Where normal means?
Where normal means what you have been used to. You have at least served, 3 mayors or 2 mayors? So you know how the office runs before you even move to your new office. I'm saying that these things that have been said, that there are frequent travels that have no benefit to the assembly, is wastage, is this, is that. I mean, very damning allegations. And I'm asking, do you find them normal?
Johnny, hold your gun there. So he said very damning allegations. That is good. Damning allegations. So until the allegation has been proven yes or no, we still need to hold our guns. So that I, as presiding member, as the Speaker of the Assembly, I will not once again be prejudicial to the committee that will be set up to come out in their fight.
When do you hope to set up this committee?
The committee will be set up on Monday. As I said, I will serve on Wednesday. So within the 7 days, okay. So on the 5th day, which is the Monday, we are going to have the emergency general assembly meeting to set up the committee to come up with to finish the assembly with all the 7 allegations that are there.
Is it your opinion that this petition, now that is made its way into the public domain, puts the image of the AMA in a fix or a balance?
No, I don't think so. As I said, I don't think so once again, because these are all allegations. As I said, the section of assembly members have also exercised their constitutional mandate. So all that is happening within the framework of the law. So I don't think so. I believe that we are in the constitutional world. Ghana is, we all appreciate the Ghana democracy is the envy of most African countries. So to me, at the moment, everything is on course. It is not damning to A and these are allegations. So until the issues, the fact findings come out, we will be able to know whether all that they raise is true or not. But as I said, as the referee of the assembly, I need to ensure that the right thing is done, and I'm following the constitutional mandate to ensure that we set up the committee on Monday.
Did you get a Christmas gift at all from the mayor?
Christmas gift?
Yes, Christmas gift, rice and oil.
Johnny, I don't think that.
Did you get rice and oil from the mayor?
No, I don't think I need to disclose those who give me Christmas gifts.
I'm talking about from the assembly. Did the assembly give you rice and oil as Christmas gifts?
Every assembly member got rice and oil. That's all.
Pajo, thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much. We're grateful for your time. We'll wait for Monday.
Okay, sir.
Thank you so much. That's the presiding member. Every assembly member got rice and oil. William. Yeah.
I didn't need to get rice and oil. Didn't MG give you rice and oil?
Yeah, it's not with my taxes. It's not with taxes.
Oh, what's up? Everybody chop for way anyway.
Yeah, rice and oil business, Charlie.
It's just rice and oil.
Yeah, rice and oil.
But would that be a gift? From the assembly to 8 members, would that be a gift?
Well,
I think it's just one of those.
Did the government not say that because we are
Would
cash
that be
strapped.
a gift?
Because we are cash strapped.
I'm asking, would that be a gift?
No, I'm asking.
I don't think it was a gift.
It was.
You work at the police.
It was a benefit.
End of the year.
Okay.
They say, look, the economy is hard. We are bailing out a bit. Get some gallon of oil and a bag of rice. So I don't think it's a gift.
It's not a gift.
No.
It's an entitlement.
It's one of.
But did the government not say that we don't have money, so hampers and
that's why they give the rice and oil.
Okay.
The hampers from where?
It was not hamper.
You chop your rice and oil for a year. You don't get rice and oil.
Hey, I did, not with taxes.
Oh, you don't understand that.
AMA doesn't run on the private.
But maybe they have internally generated funds from which they can give rice and oil.
Okay.
And if the auditing is done and it doesn't,
people are saying that the
infraction.
Public Financial Management Act was breached with
That's
that
what
procurement.
I'm saying. So the rice and oil may not be the issue. The law, if it's breached, will be the issue. So drop the rice and oil and let's look
I
at
should leave the people's rice alone. Angwamu
with some fried egg too much.
Well, it's 52 minutes after 7. A Jura shooting victims compensated. Government has paid 1.2 million Ghana cedis compensation to the 3 injured victims of the Jura shooting incident. The checks issued to the families cited. We have Louise Ayikpa, right? 347,953. Nazif Nuhu got also 192,425, and Awal Ms. Bao was given 678,509. Is this enough, Roland?
Well, if you ask me, it's not enough. Particularly looking at what if you also take a look at the Constitution enjoins in the directive principles of state policy, 1992 Constitution, the state needs to accord citizens. But more so is the need to be having access to basic needs, and having peace is also one of the ways by which you can also enjoin public officers or the states to ensure that people also enjoy their rights. Now, access to life is also important.
That's right.
Now, in this critical period of the Fourth Republican Constitution, and mind you, we just celebrated how many years? 30 years of implementing this. You take a look at all the commissions of inquiry, committees that have been set up for gross human rights abuses. And for this republic, we started prior to the republic with the National Reconciliation Commission.
That's right.
Subsequently, we also did have the May 9 Stadium disaster that looked at what happened. We also have had the Ayawaso election or by-election shooting incident. That was very much key. And that was even the Commission of Inquiry. And you look at the state's commitment towards people who are grossly abused. Not by ordinary people, but by assigns of the states, either by assigns within the structure of government, elements of government, politically exposed persons who go unpunished, and the victims would have to wait, sometimes without justice, sometimes with some level of justice. For example, in this instance, you have to say that it's not enough.
It's just not enough.
Losing a life, losing a relative, losing a friend does not equate to no matter or how much is given to you.
Okay.
The thing and the key issue was justice done? And this amount cannot be equated to justice.
And all that you have lost. Well, joining us on the phone line is Dr. Ishmael Norman. He's the president and CEO of the Institute for Security, Disaster and Emergency Studies. Doc, good morning. Thank you very much for joining us. How are you doing?
Good morning, Mr. Hughes. How are you?
I am greater than Accra, sir.
Beautiful.
The victims of the Ejura shooting incident have been compensated. Roland says the compensation is not enough because no amount of money can replace whatever has been lost. From a security perspective, also a psychology perspective, and all that you do, what do you say?
I think he's totally correct about saying that the compensation regime that we practice in Ghana devalues human life. to the point where you cannot believe that the workers in Ghana, when they are asking for more money, they don't actually ask for modification to the Workman Compensation Act. And does not even fall into that act. This is personal injury. So you go for the useful life of the person that is the victim of the injury, and there has to be a component for pain and suffering. There has to be punitive damages to stop future occurrence of such event, and there has to be restorative damages as to where the victim would have been in the economic stream of affairs if he had not suffered the injury. For example, if somebody is amputated, it doesn't end there. At some point throughout his or her life, he's going to need a new prosthesis. He's going to repair it. He's going to have the phantom idea that the leg is still there, may even fall, oftentimes, without realizing that he has lost one leg. So, giving the person something like $52,000, when the average age, the average lifespan of a Ghanaian man is about 68 years, when the man is below 30 or 40, you have done nothing. It's disgraceful. It's shameful. And yet we can buy streams of V8 to follow one man all over the country with a chair in one of the vehicles when we cannot take care of our own people. And we talk about human rights. I think it's all a joke. This money, I felt so insulted because let's assume this young man was, say, deputy minister, right, or the daughter or the son of one of the government operatives. Do you think they will give that person $51? No. Nobody should applaud the government for doing this. It's disgraceful to Ghana. They could have done more. Economic damages times the useful life of the person. You take the average hypothetical gross salary that he would have made, or people in his situation are making, and you multiply it over his useful life, and then you agree to a certain sum of it. That is why we see huge personal injury compensations in places like the United States, because they do the useful life assisted calculation. And we are operating in this country as if we are living in a cocoa republic. We don't think about the future of the individuals who are victims to the actions of government. So it is totally not enough.
One would say that the individuals who superintendent over the calculation of these compensation packages know all of what you are saying, but again, why wouldn't they do what is in accordance with global standards?
It may be an assumption, my brother, because Ghana Law School doesn't teach compensation calculations. They don't. I stand corrected. So a lot of lawyers do not know. And the doctors, the medical doctors who are supposed to calculate the rate of injury or disability are always, often, a lot of them are in cahoots with the payer. And so they will come out with a rate of disability that will favor the person who is supposed to pay the money. So our doctors, you cannot trust them when it comes to compensation. Doctors, personal injury doctors, they are just as corrupt as the people they represent.
Well, then it comes to evidence-based conversation. Are there, for example, instances where we can clearly say that the people who were supposed to do the calculation of these packages have been in bed with the people who must pay these packages to the victims of circumstances?
I think we can totally imply that. I think it's there. When I heard that, I said, no. The doctor who is involved in assessing the disability didn't do right. He didn't do a good analysis, and the lawyers have just turned a blind eye. When it comes to moments like this, lawyers and doctors they are like husband and wife. They are together. They are really, really together.
So, where do we begin the change from?
It should start with the Ghanaian workers, the labor. They need to start agitating for a change. Look at our Workman Compensation Act 1987. I mean, please. This law is so outdated, it doesn't apply to anything. And when you look at the compensations that they are giving, it's based upon the way the parish were being compensated during Bismarck's reign in Germany. Can you imagine? When you lose a left arm, you get less money than if you lose a right arm. If you lose a left leg, you get less money than when you lose a right leg, because it is presumed that most people are right prone.
Right.
What about if I were left-handed? Then you're going to give me less money because I lost a left leg or left arm. But this is so archaic. That law should not be on our books anymore. But you see, when they are agitating for improvement in a workman's salaries and all of that, there are substantive issues they never address. And this is one of them. If you get injured on a job right now, the money they're going to give you, it will be painfully small. And that's what we have seen in the Nigeria case. It is okay to start with something. If I were the person assessing the money, I would have given not less than 5-point-something million Ghana cedis. So that this person, in addition to that, you must provide those that lost their leg or arm or whatever it is, those pieces every year, because the body changes as they're getting older.
Right.
And you have to help them with training. That will be a serious commitment to his human rights. Human rights is not a hypothetical thing. And what we have seen in the Nigeria compensation scheme is not a promotion of human rights.
Monies were handed over to them. In fact, dummy checks were given to them. But very little was said about the psychosocial support for these victims and how long it was going to take. What the Attorney General said was that psychological support should be given to them as has been prescribed by the medical board, and that's it. Is that enough again?
It's not enough, because the Attorney General is not going to ensure that the Ghana Psychological Association actually provide the services, because they will not provide the money for the Ghana Association to do that. I know there are really capable men and women in that group. I've attended a few of their meetings and conferences, and they are willing to serve the society, but they are always pushed to the back burner because, do you think we really care? Or could you fulfill natural baby, or Digankenke natural baby? They're not going to pay attention to these issues at all. They just say it, and saying it's so cheap is often said, but they never follow it.
On my mind now is also the Apiati victims. If what's happened at the Jura and the compensation packages that followed, and how you have told us that it is not enough, what should change about the victims of Apiati?
I think the Minister of Social Welfare needs to sit down and review a lot of these and put eminent people, because I know that the Ghana Commission of Employers, they don't even do very good analysis of compensation. So I think that the nation has to sit down and really come out with some kind of regime, or the lawyers have to be more proactive and go for more, and the judges have to be more open, not to protect the government or the government entities, but to protect the individuals. If a person is 30 years, he loses an arm, he's going to live to be 68. How is he supposed to live? Yes, I know that under the Disability Act, some assistance will be given, but it is in the books they never give. We are very good at writing things down or talking as a nation, in terms of human rights. It's just the paperwork that we are able to meet the paperwork 99% of the time. But when it comes to the action that are needed, it doesn't follow. So I think that the Minister of Social Welfare needs to sit down and really come out with a group of people that will look at all these issues, that if or state agent harms somebody, what will be the appropriate compensation given the economic progression of this country, cost of living, rate of inflation, and so on and so forth. The money they gave is not even subjected to the rate of inflation. I mean, this is appalling.
Doc, I thank you very much for your time this morning. Grateful. That's President and CEO of Institute for Security, Disaster and Emergency Services, Dr. Ishmael Norman, there on the phone line. It's some 6 minutes after 8 here on 3FM Sunrise on 92.7. Yeah. And for all those watching us on Facebook, Emmanuel Atukwefio, Haley Selassie, Wafake, Samuel Ken, KK, Kaswa, Innocent Isaac Rupani, we acknowledge all of you. Thank you indeed for watching and enjoying the show from there. Helen, Dr. Ishmael Norman has spoken.
Yes.
Do you agree with him?
I do, and interesting perspectives as well when he talks about the average lifespan of Ghanaian male, for example, and if you lose a limb, an arm, a right arm, whatever it may be at the age of 30, really and truly for the next, let's say, the next 30 years, what are you expected to do? He says something like $52,000, for example, would not suffice in that instance. So I think it's interesting drawing the parallels there, thinking about what to do with one's life when you're faced with a challenge like that. Good perspective.
William,
in that direction.
I saw you nodding and shaking your head at some point.
Well, I mean, I like it when people give us insights, but sometimes if they go into areas where controversies, I mean, some of the statements he made were from the accusations, and if you are not careful, the conversation will go there.
Right.
So I would wish that he had made all those points without those conjectures, and if you like.
But they said it's implied.
Doctors being shy, because that's an accusation, you know what I mean? So
they said it's implied.
Yeah,
to the extent that the calculations have been made without paying attention to the prevailing rates, exchange rate, inflation, and all of that.
So you say that without saying that they are what's the word?
They are in cahoots with
I mean, quite frankly, I mean, that's the only point I had about his submission. Other than that, why not?
Okay. This is 3FM 92.7. Cost of living. It keeps coming back because the children are coming home. So they will eat more bread, more rice, more chicken, more fish, more everything. And because they are adolescents, they consume.
And because they've come from eating the types of food that they don't like, they are going to make up for it.
The food, they call it elective and core.
Right. Elective
rice, core rice. I understand that the elective one, you may have some protein.
Okay.
The core one is protein in the sauce and share.
It's all play all.
Charlie.
So William, I mean, you're a parent. They're coming back. Hey, Roland, what are you doing? You're live on Facebook.
Am I? You're talking about cost of living.
Yeah, you are live on Facebook.
So I was dealing with cost of living.
Jumping all over the studio.
All right.
Behave.
Yes, please.
Yes, sir. So I mean, price of a loaf.
Facebook.
Yes, the price of a loaf of bread, for example, is.
You remind me of my boss William is here. Give me one. You have
25 Ghana cedis for a loaf of bread. 25 Ghana cedis, and this is bread. If you have like 3 children, won't last for 2 days. 1 day it's gone. 25 cedis, and they are coming home. That's where parents now. I mean, after William spoke, a parent called me, and that was his concern. That BKB and Bashia Charlie.
This is the middle of the month.
Yes. He said BKB and Bashia. That's what he said in Kolani Befiu. The pain and the uncertainty.
Yeah.
It's too much.
And that's why I've said that, look, every decision we take, we should put the individuals at the center. Human beings should be at the center of the decisions. When the GAS was taking the decision, what were they thinking? I mean, parents have sent their wards to school, expecting them in April. This drop directive, they should come home. They should come home the month.
Yes.
When January, the salaries all went to school fees. They were hit by a lot of increments of all utilities, fuel, everything went up in January. February, we are trying to just stabilize our finances. In the middle of the month, the kids are coming. You have to look for money to go and pick them. When they come home, you have to increase the chop money and so on and so forth. Well, some of the frustrations, you just have to.
But how do you stomach these frustrations when, because your children will start looking at you from a certain point of view that our father is irresponsible.
That's why I've always said on this show that as a parent, as a human being, you have to be creative. Creative in the sense that that's life. And that's what I was suggesting on this show the other day, that we have to look at what we can do in terms of side jobs, side hustles. Because if you depend on 31st January and 28th February alone, your BP will be very, very high.
But I think that if we have to situate the conversation, we also have to look at what the numbers are. Just yesterday, the statistical service was giving us numbers, and now it's public that averagely the least earning public servant is ranging just in excess of 400 Ghana
cedis.
It's 418 Ghana cedis.
To do what with?
The conversation with the statistical service, that is also very much related to every Ghanaian who works within the public service. And that also tends to have a certain influence or inference with those in the informal sector, is that the disparities about, or with those who tend to earn high and those who are earning low is so huge. It is very much a conversation that we need to have. So we have people in public and private sector, in formal and informal sectors of this country, who have access to resources, but for those who are at the high end of the spectrum are just few. So it means that our monies, the resources that we have, are just in the hands of few Ghanaians, while the majority of the Ghanaian, even for those of us here who seem to have within our figment of our imagination that we are so-called middle class, we're earning so low comparatively within the forex terms, and we're talking here USD, that our livelihoods are not better.
But Roland, if you pay somebody 400 Ghana cedis in today's Ghana as a civil servant, what do you want him to do with 400
So that is why we need to question.
Engendering corruption.
Yes, that's all you're doing. Because you would demand for the brown envelopes.
Human being or human life is like a river. The river is supposed to flow. When you block it, will go this way. So when you block all the exits, it will just remain in the middle and become corrupt. And that's when the water begins to smell.
So it means that there's huge exploitation. Exploitation, because what happens in the public service then reflects in the private sector. So you will find that when it comes to wages and compensation, when they say that the TUC, organized labor, has negotiated with government on a certain range of compensation or increments in salaries, that you have to then divide by your own percentages how less or more somebody within the private sector would take. Because averagely the salaries being earned by public sector workers are way better if you look at the spectrum than those in the private sector.
That's alarming.
Yes,
because when it was on our various platforms, when we put that infographic about the average earnings of a public sector worker being about 2005 or 6 or so, the comments that followed said, "Oh well, this is actually very generous. What the figure that you've put out there, it doesn't reflect what is going on in the pockets." And I was reading that thinking that's very alarming. And Roland, you say it's a figment of our imagination that we're even middle class. Has the middle class been eroded?
it has been eroded because especially with these times where the cedi is trash, it's one of the worst performing currencies in the world currently.
Don't talk down to your cedi.
No, but please, I'm talking down the cedi, and these are based on numbers. And if you take a look at somebody who claims that he is a middle class person, having 50,000 at the beginning of January 2022, that 50,000, you know the worth of that 50,000 today. And we're talking, and we're not going to use anybody as an example. We're using ourselves. As an example.
Let our pockets broadcast to us.
Look, we have somebody who is a doctorate person or a PhD holder, and I'm talking about somebody I know personally, who is a director within the structure of the Ministry of Health, invested 130,000 in a bond. Okay, by the time they did that thing they called the mark-to-market value,
about 24% or so of it is gone.
Yeah, at the time she had earned an interest of 24,000. Now the 153,000 or 154,000 came down to 117,000. Look, we all work in companies where we have security people who are operatives of machines. They are the helm of etc. They have great qualifications. We call them masters, etc. And they are earning 1,000, and they are earning 1,200. How do we want to make ends meet? Yeah. That brings us to the subject of why that leads to corruption. And the corruption of a private enterprise. So everybody wants to pass corners. So Mr. Siedu here is saying that you need to do something extra. Our something extra is how to steal.
Yeah, we're stealing.
How we say I am an undertaking my own interpretation of what's smart. Look, that is why all our guys have become Game Boys. They are owning houses. They are buying cars. Nobody is questioning because we know that we're all living a lie.
Yeah. Let's go back to 6 years ago. 6 years ago, Pakwesi Asare Posha Gabon News 360. Listen to them.
NPP flag bearer Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo has described as abysmal the NDC's management of the country's economy over the last 7 years.
While speaking at the Freedom Forum in Accra, he promised that if given the mandate, the NPP will put the economy back on track.
The forum was organized by the International Young Democrats Union, a global alliance of center-right political youth organizations and a youth wing of NPP. Members of the union from United Kingdom, United States, Nigeria, Malawi, Liberia, Uganda, Kenya and Ghana discuss issues of poverty, women participation in politics, and employment in Africa. NPP flag bearer Nana Akufo-Addo insisted Africa needs quality leaders to steer the affairs on the continent.
You have 5, 6, 7, perhaps even 1 billion people being taken out of poverty in the last decade in India, in China, and in the other countries of Southeast Asia. It is time we saw the same phenomenon in Africa.
7 years of NDC administration, according to him, has been characterized with widespread unemployment, high inflation, and unprecedented high interest rates.
We are today importing foodstuffs from our neighbors, foodstuffs that traditionally for centuries we have been able to produce for ourselves. Industry and manufacturing, all of them have witnessed negative rates of growth. That's the background which we're fighting this election, of an abysmal performance on the part of the Mills Mahama government in their management of the national economy.
Nana Akufo-Addo said if given the mandate, his administration will pursue prudent economic management to bring the economy back on track.
We're going to abolish import duties on manufacturing equipment. We're going to take off the VAT on financial services. All of this to create the conditions for enterprise and for businesses to be competitive and to be able to function and grow and create jobs and bring about higher and higher levels of.
The NPP flag bearer believes African countries need to develop strong economic and democratic institutions.
That was the president, Godfrey Tanam and Posha Gabon and Pakwesi Asare. What has changed?
Okay, so then now they are saying that it's because of external factors. But I've always made the point that if you put yourself out for public office, especially president or a minister, you know, or you ought to have known that there will be external pressures. It's a given. Because there's no way you come into office and begin to use that as an excuse. That's why there was always the call to, or if you like, on the president to be prudent in his spending, in the way he handled the national purse.
Right.
And we're excited when he said he was going to protect it, the national purse. So we have a huge government machinery. We have the government or the president showing that we have money, because he lives like a president who lives a rich
He
country.
doesn't have a problem.
But Ghana is not rich. Ghana is poor. All indications indicate that we are poor. So if you fly, you bath in the air, your chair is in the V8, and even the optics are not something that will encourage anybody to go with you, stand behind you when we are in trouble. So for them using Ukraine-Russia war, using COVID, and those are the two things that they talk about all the time.
Yeah.
But somebody just came from Morocco.
Theory.
Ferrinyan, yeah.
He said he should be there and see how they are running the country.
We import tomatoes from Morocco, actually.
And interestingly, if you go to the north of Africa, all the countries seem to be doing well. It is when you come to sub-Saharan African.
It's the skin. The skin is different. Black.
I would not
Black.
go there. It is just that we
mind.
have our crisis is not economic or financial. It is leadership.
Yeah.
That's right.
It is leaders who have to sacrifice.
Charlie, no, we want to give you money. We want to dash you money.
Yeah, because at the end of the day,
Please write it
we've been
Please
speaking
write,
about.
no, please write this.
Our crisis
no,
is
say,
not.
say that again.
It's not financial. It's not economic.
It is
It's leadership. Our
Okay.
crisis is not financial.
Yes.
Not economic. It is
or
leadership.
economic.
Yes,
It is
because
leadership.
if you're a leader and you want to sacrifice
Dash,
and
William
make a
Essien.
name
Dash.
for yourself,
We are trying to capture the quote.
Our crisis is not
economic
or financial.
It is leadership.
Dash.
William
William
Essiedu of current memory.
Immortalized in writing.
Yes, yes.
No, but quite frankly, we sit here and I cannot point to any huge house or any property that I will connect to Dr. Nkrumah. I've traveled to Nkrumah, I've done story. I even won an award on a story I did on Nkrumah in Ghana at 50. I went to Nkrumah. I didn't see any huge house in Nkrumah that was for him. But our current leaders, everywhere you go, somebody died, and the forest that is for the state, he had willed it to
Forever.
Forever.
Are we a serious people? And this was a general secretary of the same party that was promising gold and silver. So this is what we are saying, that we need leaders at this point who will come and sacrifice.
We need to wrap up. Yes.
Look, at the heart of this conversation is, what do we do? What should we be doing? And it's not as if that we have to travel to Mars or space to go and get a blueprint. We just have to look at even how China did it.
Right.
Even the Arabs, United Arab Emirates, Singapore, they have no gold, they have nothing. They just have human capital or social capital. Look, in our constitution, we have in Article 86 and 87 the establishment of the National Development Planning Commission. Indeed, we followed that with an act of establishment. I remember Dr. Nimoy Thompson in the Mahama administration
40-year development
did
plan.
a 40-year development plan. In breaking down the objects of that 40-year development plan, he said within or inherent in that plan were even sub years of implementation
10-year blocks
for which you can't even achieve. So it means that, for example, as John Dramani Mahama left office, our own man, Papa Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, who said he will protect the public purse from a Gajisbergen economy to one of industrialization. Those big English that he spoke, who has now seemed, based on public sentiment, disappointed the majority of Ghanaians, including his own party people who speak to us in the private, that he will change the economy. That has not been done. It also means that we have to go back to the basics. And the basic is we need to plan. Without planning, we will wait 5 years, 10 years, and we'll come back and do the same thing. And say that's why everybody wants to live outside the country, where you're not going to have your status as a person, your dignity as a human being or a Ghanaian being respected. Why do I have to travel to the US, Australia, the UK and go and do social work?
Slow down. It's breakfast time. Innocent Isaac Rapurupani is watching live in South Sudan, the newest country in Africa. Best regards to Honorable Alan and Ghanaians. Musa Batua says a country that meets to fight corruption. Attorney General is fighting Auditor General for public and misappropriation, corruption and misappropriation. The AG's letter to the Auditor General is clearly meant to gag him from exposing the rot. Instead of President Akufo-Addo and Bawumia to fight corruption, they are collaborators to make corruption attractive. God save Ghana. There, Uriah Tete says, what a leadership style, a lifestyle we're experiencing in Africa. We take more from the poor people to enrich the already rich leader. You're killing the very life you can't bring back. Paparazzi Yao on Facebook, that's on 3FM 927 on the live stream, and thank you very much for what it says. Why is Akufo-Addo, Bawumia, Ken Ofori-Atta and MPP leaders as a whole disturbing us? And that if they don't get the IMF 17 billion or IMF loan, I should say, the economy will crash. If 500 billion has crashed the economy, what will the IMF money, how would it restore the economy? It's a hashtag focus. That's what he said. We will go to the private teachers and then to Honorable Samjeta George. Here's a gift for you for your Friday morning.
State coffers are not spoiled for the party that wins an election, but resources for the country's social and economic development. I shall protect the public purse by insisting on value for money in all transactions.
As you know, we're heading towards the very first Kobe Festival, 4th March. 3FM is bringing the best makers of beans and gari and everything else, Kobe, together for 4th March, Independence Saturday. We're inviting everybody to come. So this is how it is in Zanzibar, I'm sure you know. And on that day there will be a lot of this and many more on the ground. So watch out for the details. And it's 4th March. And I invite you to the 3FM Made in Gourmet Festival. See you there. Nice.
We have our beans, we have our cocoa, you know, the ayam I say, oh, hey, I could check a can action, I say, bunch of cocoa, and no, I say, what I say, now the cook a cow, or the paper crab, so what I say, Nakusiaba could dash, Kusian, which me up, no, police, and beauty, not Jane in this, so homes are line. That is how we are going to enjoy. On the 4th of March, if you are not with us to eat gobe, I'm sure you'll be missing out. So you need to be part of the 3FM Gobe Festival. Myself, Giovanni, Helen, Johnnie Hughes, Kawawa, everyone. If you are missing out on this, come on, my friend, then you don't need to live in Ghana, please. Stay out of it. It's the Gobe Festival 2023 with 3FM. So make sure you are part of it. Helen, you good?
I'm good, but also
March, 3FM Gobe Festival.
Charlie, this is MOG. It's Gobe time. You know what I'm saying, Charlie? When we talk about Gobe here, when you get your beans, gari kakra, cocoa kakra, beef kakra, inkusia kakra, all with pepper underneath. Charlie Ogbena. You understand? So guess what? On the 4th of March, 3FM is bringing you the biggest ever Gobe season. And I'm going to be there. Make sure you are there. Let's all eat Gobe together. I want to chop with you. understand? You take your spoon, I take my spoon, and we chop together. Gobe.
Gobe is lovely. Gobe is good. Gobe is, top notch. Every Monday, when I go out, I make sure I buy gobe for my mom, and she's so grateful. About 8 years, she loves gobe. I love gobe. You can't take it away from food items in Ghana. 4th March, join us. Let us finish the gobe. No matter who you are, everybody should be there. Let us promote gobe, and let's make gobe international. Like how Jollof has become international. Gobe will also become international. Join us and let's do it together.
Good morning, Ghana, Africa, and the rest of the wonderful world. Welcome to Sunrise on 3FM 92.7.
Start your day well informed. Start with us on Sunrise on 3FM 92.7. Catch the all-new Sunrise Morning Show with me, Johnnie Hughes, Helena Biampofo, William Asiedu,
and Noble Crosbyan.
Weekdays from 5:55 a.m. to 10 a.m. only on 3FM 92.7. Your urban.
This is my lunch today. This is gobe. Plantain is beans, all mixed up nice. And as you know, we're heading towards the very first Gobe Festival, 4th March. 3FM is bringing the best makers of beans and curry and everything else, Gobe, together for 4th March Independence Saturday.
Yes, we have a few messages for you. When we return from those messages, we get to engage. And then very soon after, right after them, the Honorable Sam Jatta George, MP for Ningo Pram Pram. Lion Bond, shit one shit. Will be in the studio. He's actually in the studio already. See you shortly.
Daffy's or human new. Daffy's or human feminine Miss Chanty. A massive so many.
On that day, there will be a lot of this. So watch out for the details, and it's on 4th March, and I invite you to the 3FM Made in Gobe Festival. See you there.
Nice. Our gobe, we have our beans, we have our cocoa. You know, the ayam I say, oh, hey, I could check a can action. I say, bancha cocoa, and no, na efe. What you say? Now they cook a cow or they pick a crab so. What you say? Na kusiaba akoda so kusiano bitumi apem na no system thinking na jeni this so phones line. That is how we are going to enjoy. On the 4th of March, if you are not with us to eat gobe, I'm sure you'll be missing out. So you need to be part of the 3